Morgan,
Yes.
do you know what deja vu is?
Glitch in the Matrix, right?
Morgan,
Hmm?
do you know what deja vu is?
Yeah, glitch in the Matrix, right?
Hey, Morgan,
Yeah.
do you know what deja vu is? Jeez, man, stay away from the middle schools with that laugh, bro. Hey guys, I'm Chris.
I'm Morgan.
Campbell, and welcome back to X versus Z. This is our fourth episode, 4.5, maybe 5.5, considering the throwaways we effed up today.
There was technical difficulties.
It was a cluster, you know what. So maybe it was for the best because it was, right after you left too, I was hungry. I told you I was hungry, so I started making it, and I dropped my freaking egg on the floor, and I was just like, yo, Homa. So episode 4, and we've done three
dramas.
That's
we
the
did
word
The
for it.
Crow, then The Crow,
Remake.
then Whiplash,
which was a great movie.
All three very dramatic movies. Not a lot of fun to be had in them. There were some fun moments in The Crow though, first one. But anyways, so this time we did a comedy, which was one of your favorites, called
Raising Arizona.
Yes.
Starring Nicolas Cage, released in 1987, written and directed by Ethan Coen, although only one of them got credit for it because the Directors Guild of America will only allow one of them to get credit for it, and the other one was the producer. I don't know which one that was. I don't remember. But it is, I would say, screwball comedy, but that would be to pigeonhole something that has a tone that's a little something of its own that I had never seen before when I first saw it.
I would say it's very much eclectic comedy. A lot of the jokes they repeat, but they repeat in different ways that make them funny the second time around as well as the first time around.
And the thing about it is, the humor in this, it's not a traditional comedy. You're right. It's because for one, you can't predict what's going to happen to it.
Yeah. I think I wrote that down. That was a thing that I enjoy. I didn't necessarily enjoy or dislike. It was a neutral thing. I couldn't tell where it was going. I thought it would be a prison movie. Then I thought it would be Bonnie and Clyde, but with a baby. Then I thought it would be like a whole group of criminals raising a baby together. Then it turned into a chase sequence. Then it turned into something where a dude straight out of Mad Max came in.
And basically. But I think that's one of the strengths of this movie and these directors. Real quick, the story, if you guys haven't seen Raising Arizona, it's a classic. It's about a small-time crook who knocks over convenience stores.
The same convenience store over and over again.
Over and over again.
I'll be taking these Huggies and whatever cash you got.
And in doing so, he keeps getting processed into the system where he meets the cop who's processing him is played by Holly Hunter. Nicolas Cage plays the main guy who is H.I. McDonough, and Holly Hunter's character is Ed or Edwina, and the whole first 15 minutes of this movie, there's no credits, there's no title screen. It's just kind of a montage.
It's a montage of him getting arrested, going to prison, meeting all the same people over and over again, and then eventually sort of cleaning up his act for a while and, proposing to her. Wait, how did he get the ring?
He said he bought it, but what, you mean the engagement ring? I don't know, but he got her that little dinky ring and promised her that he had done it. One of the first jokes in this movie that when I saw it for the first time, I just thought it was really funny, and their sense of humor is really interesting, is that he keeps going up before the parole board and basically promising that he'll do better until he says, well, and he goes, now are you lying to us, Hyde? He goes, well, yeah.
No, the joke there was, they said, are you just telling us what we want to hear? No, sir, I'm not. Are you telling us the truth? Yes, sir. Or it's like, we want to hear the truth. And later it's like, well, we want to hear the truth. Well, then I guess I am just telling you what you want to hear, because what he's saying is the truth.
Boy, didn't we just tell you not to do that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And I don't think he has his hair combed at any point in this entire movie.
Except for when he's having that lunch dinner thing with Glenn. That's the only time he has his hair combed. He's got it all combed back and everything, and then after that it's back to crazy hair.
I got that. So, okay, Holly Hunter and Nick Cage work beautifully off of each other. You really feel that chemistry. I actually felt for Holly Hunter. Oh, so basically, I forgot to finish. They get married and they want to have a child, but she can't. And so the premise for the whole thing is they decide to kidnap one of 5 babies from this rich furniture dealer named Nathan, Arizona. Hence the title of the movie, Raising Arizona.
Well, the title of the movie is because they take Nathan Arizona Jr.
Nathan Arizona Jr., thank you. That's correct. Now, listen, this is one of those movies where the writing is like delicious. I mean, my ears are enjoying consuming it.
Yes.
But, and the Coens are the chef for the whole thing, but for somehow...
The servers of the script being the actors, they do such a wonderful job, and it makes it even better.
Yeah, and you know what? You always ask yourself this question, like, one, why is Chris wearing a zip up in the middle of hot September? And we'll answer that question at another time. But the other one is that who else could play this role? Like, who do you think could have done this role with the same kind of elasticity and
Jim Carrey, Andy Serkis,
craziness to it? They could have, but Jim Carrey would have Jim Carrey'd it.
Okay,
I mean, you could say
they both would have done it, but I think Nick Cage brings his own brand of Nick Caginess.
It needs a bit of maniacal unsettledness. And uneasiness, and he has such a herky-jerky performance in this.
Yeah, as much as I love Jim Carrey and Andy Serkis, I think when they do their stuff, even when it was Gollum, even when it was that creepy dude, I can't remember what movie it was.
Anything that Jim Carrey's done, like Ace Ventura.
Yeah, but every time it's like, you can't help but see, okay, this guy, he may be a little off, but he seems like a decent guy. Or like, even when Andy Serkis was playing Claw in Avengers, or in the Marvel Universe, there's still a moment of like, he may be a bad guy, but he's not the worst thing in the world. But I think Nick Cage is just so perfectly unhinged in just the right ways with that energy that we're talking about.
It's like contained chaos.
Yes.
And
it's waiting for a moment to break.
I love it. And he's grounded by Holly Hunter. She's not exactly what I call the straight man to this. She has her own funny moments, but there's more of a tenderness there, and there's very funny lines for her, but it's like, as a character and then as an actress, she's perfectly suited to wrangle
Nick Cage's insanity
and his energy. I love that. Now, this is one of those movies, because it's a Coen Brothers movie, you know that the supporting cast is going to be awesome, and they've got I think is an underappreciated actor, but he's a great actor, is John Goodman, who plays Gale Snows. Now, who is Gale Snows? And his brother is played, William Forsythe plays Evel Snows.
I was of the serious impression that they weren't brothers. I thought they were, like, married.
Married?
Yeah.
Dude, they got the same last name.
That's why I thought they were married.
No, they have a very odd dynamic. Like, John Goodman's kind of the more masculine force there, and Evel is more nurturing and kind of the little brother type thing. But, I mean, he's just like, he himself, John Goodman is a force of nature, and
he screams a lot in this movie.
He screams in other movies too.
Yeah, but I think one of the gags in this movie was just, how long can we make John Goodman scream for?
Which is probably, I want to save it for a minute, just hold that. Probably, I think we both agree one of the best jokes of the movie, because the very first time I saw it, I laughed my ass off on it. I thought it was the funniest thing ever. But we were talking about this earlier, and this speaks to the great direction of the Coen brothers, which is how they're convicts, right? They were in the prison system with Hi, H-I.
But they call him High.
And they become friends there, and so Gale and his brother Evel, they escape from prison. Now, you missed the symbolism of this. the first time, which you were a symbolism guy, but your mind is not in the gutter like mine is all the time. So I can see your puritanical mind missing on this. But the scene when they're escaping is so obvious. Like
once you know it's there, it's really obvious.
Once you see it, you can't unsee it.
Yep.
Being pulled out. I just want to say, pulled from the mud of the hole that they're trying to escape in the middle of the rain, and it creates a certain type of visual in your mind. Like it looks like a literal evacuation, if you want to call it.
It looks like a poop man.
It looks like a poop man, like from the Kevin Smith movies.
Like the poop demon from Dogma.
Yeah, the poop demon from Dogma. That's exactly what it looks like.
Yep.
So you had never seen this movie. Have you ever seen a Coen Brothers movie before?
Yeah, like I said, we had a whole conversation about how I didn't like the ending of No Country for Old Men.
Oh yeah. Okay, a lot of people didn't like the ending of that movie, but I thought it was such a bold choice and it was a dark choice, and I kind of like that. But the other movie that we were gonna do today, and we talked about, and you have seen, and I have seen,
The Big Lebowski.
The Big Lebowski, which I think is as good as this. I like this one a little bit better because it has a little bit more of a...
I think The Big Lebowski has been, I'm not going to say overrated, but it's been overhyped. A lot of people talking about The Big Lebowski and how amazing it was.
Yeah, you know what? I'm
not going to say it's a tick against it. It's just, it makes the expectations for a movie like that higher.
It does, and I want to talk about it at some point, but because you've already seen it and we're trying to focus on at least the first few episodes of this show of movies you haven't seen.
Yeah, we're just focusing on getting the rhythm going just now.
Since you had seen The Big Lebowski, do you feel the similar tones between the movies?
Oh yeah, they very much have it. And both of them have the feeling of, I don't know what's going to happen next, and I'm mostly just along for the ride, and like, hey, take me where you want to go, Magic Man.
Yes, but you were just saying when we started that you had a few ideas of where you thought it would go, but not where it did go.
Yes, and again, that wasn't a good or bad thing. There were some things where it was like, I kind of did want to see a comedic Bonnie and Clyde type movie, but at the same time, what we got was still a lot of fun.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about the rest. And we were also supposed to be doing a Philip Seymour Hoffman movie, but I put a kibosh on that because I thought we needed a comedy.
Yeah, we did need a comedy.
And Philip Seymour Hoffman is heavy lifting for acting. Let me ask you this. The last video I gave you hell for talking about Henry Cavill as a great actor. Got no disrespect for Henry Cavill. I like him. But, I mean, look at the acting that goes on in this movie. You're telling me Henry Cavill's on that level?
I'm saying he could be if they would cast him in something that wasn't just, big strong man or city guy.
Or let him actually play Clark Kent in the
Superman
movies.
God.
That was dude, that was such a missed opportunity.
I want to slap something now.
I know, the action was great, but they didn't give him a chance to be Clark Kent, which is the whole crux of who Superman is, of why he can hide in plain sight. And of course, we're talking about a superhero movie in the middle of a comedy, right?
Yeah. Well, the most recent comedy I saw was Deadpool and Wolverine, and that's technically a superhero movie first, but a comedy second. But
yeah, but this had a wackiness to it. We were talking about
it was wacky, but it was just underneath over the top for the majority of it. There were a couple times it peeked over it, but it didn't
it did feel like a Bugs Bunny cartoon or a Roadrunner cartoon. Like sometimes I feel like he was the coyote trying to chase happiness, but he was also being chased by his own self because he can't get away from his own bad choices.
But, okay, that reminds me, or brings me back to one of the things I wanted to talk about, which was my favorite scene was one of my favorite scenes is the first chase sequence.
Oh yeah. Talk about that.
He steals the Huggies and he, tries to rob the guy. Then his wife drives off. He runs out like, "No, honey, don't go, don't drive away." And then the clerk starts shooting at him. And Clerk pulls out a revolver and starts shooting at him. Okay, and the cops show up. They pull out their revolvers and start shooting him. But they're all using Yosemite Sam guns because they never have to reload the 6-shooters.
They never have to reload. And the fact that you said a Yosemite Sam gun makes it sound like Exactly.
Yeah,
like a cartoon. Like a
but
cartoon.
the only person we see is that one dude near the very end
shotgun.
with the double barrel shotgun. Just haha. So he pops it open and starts
Yeah.
reloading. But everybody else is just bam, bam,
Yeah, but
bam, bam.
you know what? You know what's so funny about that one little part in the scene? It was. Did you see the look on Nick Cage's face? Like he's all like nonchalant about being shot at, but he just starts running in the opposite direction, and then all the dogs start coming in. There was so many That's one of the great things about the direction of this movie, and the pacing and the editing, especially in that particular scene.
Yes.
That whole chase scene is broken up into these little sections, and
Yes.
how they go from one to the next.
Yes, it goes from the street to the second car, then to the house.
They go through that house.
It was the street, then the backyard, then the second car, then the house, then the alleyways, then the supermarket, and then it was done.
Absolutely, and it was great.
And each part.
And then they wrap up the scene by him grabbing the Huggies.
Yes.
Which, just as a nitpick, it was really well done editing. But there's no way if they had actually made contact with the Huggies that would have gone under the car door for him to grab. Just wanted to say that. That's one of those things you can't unsee once you know it.
And you just took all the joy and went and took it, and you just all the other the joy. You just killed the joy.
Oh, I know, because I know you hate that shit.
Yeah.
Oh, there I go cursing again.
Mm-hmm.
There's still the cat in me. This movie has a voiceover that Nick Cage does, yes. And we talked about the writing in this. Talk about the voiceover for a second.
Okay, the voiceover to me it fluctuated between, man, this guy's really just trying to do his best, and oh my god, this guy's got the brain cell of a cricket.
Yeah, but the actual words he uses are quite lovely. They're quite
True,
poetic.
but that's why it fluctuates of oh man, that's, he's got a point here, and then I'm thinking, my god, why are you this dumb? How have you not choked on your own tongue?
He has a Woody Woodpecker tattoo, bro.
That explains everything.
To match his hair.
I completely forgot that. They made a Woody Woodpecker video game a long time ago.
Did they?
Yeah, I played a tiny bit of it, but because I played it when I was 5 years old, I couldn't figure out how to get past anything.
What was your... I hated Woody Woodpecker as a kid. Bugs Bunny was always kind of a jerk, but Woody Woodpecker seemed mean. I never liked Woody Woodpecker.
I haven't seen a Woody Woodpecker cartoon in my life. I just know about him through cultural osmosis.
Oh, I like that cultural osmosis. Somebody's been studying the dictionary on their phone again. Good for you. What was your favorite scene in this whole movie?
I'm sorry. Was there a reason to be that mean about the clapping? But anyways, my favorite scene...
The meanness is just, the gravy.
Yeah. Okay. I think one of my... Okay, I already talked about my favorite bit being the chase, but I think one of my favorite, scenes was probably him stealing the babies, just because of how many things went wrong. It was an absolute Murphy's Law comedy of errors. And I mean that in the best way possible. It was great to just all the kids crying and then crawling around and falling.
Oh, okay. So back to the joke. Every time these guys that decide they're better suited parents, leave the kid on top of the car. Mm-hmm. Oh well, maybe you haven't seen it. It's too late. But those are great touches. Do you remember watching that little home movie I made you watch last week? Do you see where my influence was from that movie? Yes,
where it seemed to go on just a little bit longer than it should, but that's what made it fun.
Yes, that's where the funny comes back, but also I had my buddy on my shoulder spinning him around, just like the fight scene, that awesome little fight scene between John Goodman and Nick Cage.
Right. Yeah. Oh my god, I totally missed that inspiration there, but now that I put two and two together, that's actually really good.
Okay, do you have a favorite quote from this? It's awesome. I watch it, and then when the paint blows up, oh my god! Oh, okay.
That 1, 2, 3 of hilarity.
And the other thing, the other thing is talk about. There's so many little one lines in this movie by secondary supporting characters. like the old men. There's two different ones by the old men. The first one was the convenience store guy. Do you remember?
Yes,
that one?
where he was count to
He goes,
825.
count to 825, and I'm gonna come back.
And then count backwards. And I'm gonna come back to make sure. And he counts all the way up to 825. Then counts up. He gets down to like 790, and then
791.
he says, screw this. He stands up, looks out, and they're driving back for the baby they left. And he's like, oh, so it goes back down. 789, 788.
Yeah. And then the old man at the bank, who was like, "All right, everybody freeze, lay down." And he goes, "All right, Phil. You want me to freeze, or you want me to lay down? Because if I lay down, I'll be in motion." And it's like, and then the look on his face was like, and that's the thing is like, there's so many weird looks in this, and there's so many weird cuts and weird shots, and just like great editing in it. I told you before, we were talking about some of the little characters and like the random dialogue that kind of fills out the movie, like when Nick Cage is in jail and he's lying in the bunk with that his cellmate above him, the old man.
And it's all the things he was like, if we didn't have this, then we ate
we
frog.
didn't have frog, we ate crow. We ate crow, we ate sand.
You ate what?
You ate sand.
We ate sand.
You ate sand?
Same cellmate every time he goes back. I love that one.
Maybe they knew he was just going to be back in a matter of weeks, so just, keep the bunk warm for him,
And I like this one. You're not comfortable with this one, but I like it. In the very beginning, when they're all in group session and they ask the black inmate, the therapist asks the black inmate. And by the way, their faces all look like they're kind of interested but lost. Yes. Now, he goes, tell us more about when you said you feel like a woman. What do you mean by that? And he's like,
sometimes I get the menstrual cramps real hard.
I know that you were like cringe on that, but to me, dude, I thought that was hilarious. Let's see. There were some other little things that were like, I thought were funny, like pop-ins, like when he goes to propose to what's-her-face, Holly, Hunter, Ed, and the guy that's getting processed, he's like, I'm here to make an honest woman of you, and goes, hey, Kurt.
Got it, Kurt.
As he's getting his mugshot taken. I love that. And then let's talk about some of the other supporting characters real quick. Frances McDormand, who plays Dot, she has a small scene. And also, what's his face? The gentleman who played the husband, Glenn. That's Sam McMurray.
Okay, I think they both did really well as their characters because I wanted to slap the both of them because they were incredibly annoying. I did not like either of them, but they did that perfectly.
You gotta get his dip test. God, I love Frances McDormand. She's married to one of those. I could have had the whole day to look that up, but I didn't. I love this movie. One of the underrated parts of it that is kind of like the frosting on the cake of the whole thing, and we didn't talk about this before, is the music. And he goes, woo, that yodeling.
That is oddly catchy, and it's probably one of those things that I'll remember.
And you can never confuse it with anything else other than this
like
movie.
it's probably going to pop into my head like a week from now when I'm driving down to the grocery store and saying I'm just going to start humming that. Yep.
How does this movie compare to the comedies you're used to watching? Have you seen anything in modern times that has this kind of unpredictable, wacky nature to it?
I haven't seen anything in much recently maybe because I haven't watched a lot of recent comedies because most of them either I don't see trailers for them or they just don't interest me because they all seem to be banking on the same jokes that we've seen 100 times before, like the big strong guy acting a little goofy, or like the really tough, like the super serious job, like the Hitman's Bodyguard was the last one I really watched that I enjoyed.
I can't think of a comedy that I've seen in a while where I have this kind of... The last movie I saw that I laughed my butt off all the time and I want to show it to you, it's a romantic comedy, it's a spoof. It's called They Came Together with Amy Poehler and Paul Rudd, which is a great comedy. And it has this kind of weirdness to it. It has this old school kind of humor to it. How would you do you, of the 4 movies we've watched so far, which is, I know what came in last, Crow. Let's just rank the good ones: Crow, Whiplash, and this one. Which one did you like the best?
Which one did I like the best? Probably the 1994 Crow. Just because
Really?
it had... Well, firstly, I'm a sucker for superhero movies. Secondly, everything about that movie was just fun and energetic and not just a... It felt like a joy to see, honestly, even though it was very dark. This movie was fun, don't get me wrong.
But it's got great energy, too.
Oh, yeah, it's got great energy, but the energy didn't grab me like The Crow did. And Whiplash...
But that's also your wheelhouse more.
Yeah, superhero movies are pretty much my wheelhouse. I love movies like that, especially when they have great effects. Like, I completely missed talking about this when we talked about the movie, but I love how he blew up the pawn shop by shooting the shotgun full of wedding rings. And
so what are your? I don't want to cut you off there, but you know how we Crow 24 things sometimes. Yeah. So what are your final thoughts on Raising Arizona?
I think it was a very good movie. I enjoyed it. In terms of comedy, some of the jokes didn't land, but I think a lot of them did. But this is the type of movie that I would need to... Basically, it's that movie that I will throw on when I'm bored and I'm like, I want to laugh at something really friggin' dumb. And I mean that in a good way. There's good dumb and bad dumb.
Yes, there's a good dumb. This kind of movie...
This is a good dumb movie.
This is a good movie to watch with friends and chill and hang out.
Yep.
I love this movie. It's one of my all-time favorite comedies. I can watch this movie if it's on, like I would watch Shawshank Redemption or The Godfather was on. Not to say they're all the same, but it has that kind of like there's so many different scenes that are rewatchable. It's a highly rewatchable movie for me, which is always a key forming metric of whether or not something is one of my favorite movies of all time. Or it's definitely one of my favorite comedies of all time. I love the Joel and Ethan Coen library of movies they've created, and yet I haven't seen all of them. I've seen maybe 10 of those movies, and I'd really like to knock them out at some point over the course of however long this channel goes, which I hope is a long time.
Same.
I'm really excited about next week's. You know what it is. The movie. Yeah.
Oh, right.
But we're going to tease it. I told you I'm going to tease it at the
very end.
Yeah, at the very end. So you got to watch all the way through. We want to thank you guys for being with us today. We had a lot of fun making this video
It was an experience.
It was an experience. It was a good learning experience for both of us. Like and subscribe. Hit the notifications. Please comment. What is your favorite Nick Cage movie or a Coen Brothers movie? And just as another little programming note, Halloween's right around the corner, which means we are going to be celebrating October with
horror movies.
Horror movies. And the good news is we know exactly what we're programming. The bad news is we're not taking any
requests for October.
But we will entertain ideas for the holiday movie season. I don't know what Morgan has or has not seen, but got some ideas.
Well, I know you've probably never seen any of the Hanukkah specials.
I've seen 8 Crazy Nights.
That doesn't count.
It's a Hanukkah cartoon.
It's
How many
the
Hanukkah
sodomy of
cartoons
comedy.
are there? It's the what?
It's the sodomy of comedy.
You're going to say sodomy, dude? We're trying to be... God,
Morgan, well, bleep it out.
You're killing me. No, we're not going to bleep anything out. We were landing the plane. I didn't say... We're trying to be... God, Morgan.
Well, bleep it out.
You're killing me. No, we're not going to bleep anything out. We were landing the plane. I didn't say one F-bomb this time. You're welcome, Mom. But,
oh God, and my mom watches this. Oh no!
You realize now that we cannot put this on for children. I was gonna try to make it like
YouTube Kids.
Yeah, so we could get more viewership, but that's boo out the window. Sorry.